Stay with KREM 2 News this entire week for our Boomtown coverage, where we are committed to covering the growth in our region. And on this Monday night, we are taking a closer look at the growing city of Deer Park.
It has a low crime rate, but some fear that it won't stay that way. KREM 2's Shannon Mowdy now digs into the debate about transitioning to its own police department.
The quiet and safety of Deer Park Meadows subdivision drew Linda Androsky here 3 years ago.
Oh yeah, it's really growing. There's several subdivisions going in. A lot of people like the quiet, small town atmosphere.
Right now, Deer Park contracts out to the Spokane County Sheriff to have 2 deputies patrol full-time. Coverage City Council member Caleb Stapp says they've tried to increase.
Each time in the last 7 years, we've gotten this consistent answer of Deer Park, you don't need this yet.
Just within the last few weeks, Spokane County agreed to add a 3rd deputy. But for Jason Upchurch,
our desire was to have more.
It's still not enough. He's been comparing coverage and costs in comparable towns like Chewelah, which has its own police force.
So it's $900,000 a year for three deputies, so about 120 hours of coverage every week. So to put that into perspective, Chewelah, their entire policing budget, I think, is around $935,000, and they have 5 officers.
It's one reason Upchurch has led the push for a Deer Park Police Department. March numbers from Spokane County show while Deer Park crime has increased, in some cases 500% one year to the next, the actual numbers are still low. But there are other numbers that concern those wanting more police presence.
I have heard those stories of longer response times, 45 minutes or an hour to get out after a call.
That same March report shows Deer Park residents are calling for law enforcement more, but getting no response much more frequently.
When I read the reports and I see a 50% increase over 2 years, that's a big increase.
Though not everyone is concerned, at least about crime rates.
People are excited about a fake dream, because it's being sold that way. All we're going to wind up getting is higher taxes and tickets.
After living in cities like Portland and Seattle, Mike Achura isn't worried about what he says is petty crime in Deer Park.
Investigation fees, all the different parts, the lab fees, all that. We can't afford all that. If there was a serious crime here, right now, the Sheriff's Department would cover all those costs.
But is something like starting an entire police department from scratch even possible in Deer Park? Where would the police station go? Would it actually be cheaper than what the city's already doing? So many questions. So the city is turning to the experts.
This is the first serious look into starting our own police department again that I'm aware of.
The city put out requests for proposals last month to have a consulting firm evaluate the costs and feasibility of creating a police force here.
So I would like it to happen sooner rather than later. Again, things aren't going to get cheaper over time.
But it likely won't be until fall when the full possibilities and barriers to the department dream will be presented to council. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.